Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching me from. Thank you for joining me at Nkolo Mahadum this afternoon, Wisdom University, where we want to inform you that the last the last June 12th, which is Democracy Day, celebrated in Nigeria, is a waste of time. They should not have celebrated that, because what has been going on, what is the current reality, does not show that it should be celebrated. Today's date is Oye Market Day in the 50th month of the lunar calendar. You know that the lunar calendar is the Igbo calendar. So today's date is Oye Market Day. And in the 5th month, the 50th month in the lunar calendar is called Onwa Agu. While in the foreign Roman Catholic calendar, today's date is June 16th, 2024. And our title for today's lecture is why Nigeria should not have celebrated the June 12th, which they celebrated last time. I want to give you the reasons why Nkolo Mahadum feels that celebration is not only a waste of time and waste of resources. And before we continue, we want to encourage you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our program, comment, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so that anytime we drop new lectures, you will be the first to get it. In trying to deliver this lecture in the shortest time that we have, because we don't have a lot of time, let's just give you a brief history of what led to June 12th celebration. What led to the June 12th celebration is that on June 12, 1993, Chief M.K.O. Abiola of the Social Democratic Party defeated Alhaji Bashir Tofa of the National Republican Party in a presidential election, which was seen as the fairest, the best election that Nigeria have conducted in its history. And after M.K. Abiola won that election, General Ibrahim Babangida cancelled that election. And eventually, M.K.O. Abiola was arrested and detained. And unfortunately, he died in detention on July 7th, 1998. But under suspicious circumstances. What led to his death? Who killed him? But he died anyway. And so, all the things he passed through, all the struggles he went through to try to claim that mandate was just not possible. He was not allowed. He was not given the chance by President General Ibrahim Babangida. And you know, when Nigeria started this, their second time in democracy, they had been celebrating Democracy Day on the 29th of every month, of every year. But it was President Muhammadu Buhari, on June 6th, 2018, that changed the date to celebrate the Democracy Day from 29 May to June 12th, so that it will be in line with the date that Abiola actually won that election. That was what happened. And Nigeria had been celebrating Democracy Day since that time. But the reason Nkolom had unfair that the celebration of Democracy Day, the one they celebrated a few days ago, is not necessary. It's because everything that has been going on in the country does not show. It will not encourage any sincere leader to start to celebrate anything democracy from what we have seen so far that is going on. Now, let's start from the democracy itself, the democracy that Nigeria is practicing. Let's start from there. And how you will know whether the country has progressed in this democracy or not is in the last election. In the last election, Peter Obi of the Labour Party clearly won the election, just like Abiola won in 1993, and was prevented to take over by the military, by Babangida. The same way, Peter Obi won the last election that Tinubu claimed now. You know, Peter Obi was not allowed to occupy the post, just like Abiola. But Tinubu is the person that's, is occupying the post, the position of the presidency. So it's a similar thing. So why are we celebrating, irregularity? Why are we celebrating falsehood when the winner of the election was not allowed to, to preside over the country? So the democracy itself is not working when the country cannot have a free and fair election. A free and fair election. The Democracy Day you are celebrating, you cannot have a free and fair election where the winner, the correct winner, will always be pronounced, both in the local government, both in the states and the federal levels. It does not happen. Elections are declared by the highest bidder, or who knows what, who knows whom. That's how election results are declared in Nigeria. And is that worth celebrating? So, starting from the democracy itself, one can tell that there's nothing to celebrate. There's no improvement. There's no improvement in the democracy itself. And that was why what happened on that day to Tinubu, when he fell from the motorcade, is to tell him that that position he is occupying is not his, that he did not win the election, that he shouldn't celebrate Democracy Day because he doesn't want it. There's nothing to show for it. That's why he fell from that motorcade. There's no other reason why he fell from there. That is how you, Biafran, an African, should see it. The democracy is not working Western imposed democracy is not working in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole, and therefore should never be celebrated. Other reasons why that democracy, the June 12th that they celebrated a few days ago, should not have been celebrated is that in May, just last month, inflation rose. The highest inflation rate of Nigeria now is 33.95%. That is the inflation. Everything is skyrocketed to the roof. Everything is beyond the reach of the common man, common person. Inflation is very high. The government cannot control inflation. So what are we celebrating? When you go to the loan, you know, always they are borrowing the money, borrowing money, borrowing money, borrowing money. And that's why you shouldn't have celebrated. All the money used for that celebration should have been saved for something else. And as it is being projected that Nigerian loan will rise to $172 billion this year, that the loan being gotten by Nigerian government will rise up to $172 billion, which is equivalent to 77 trillion naira. Remember, this loan madness started from the 8 years of Buhari. They were always borrowing, and now being continued by the current administration of Tinubu. So all this money that is being borrowed, why should we waste it to celebrate something that does not worth celebrating? You talk of energy. The Nigerian national electric grid, energy grid, that is the one that supplies power, electricity to the country. The energy grid of Nigeria collapsed 46 times from 2017 to 2023. 46 times, where there's total darkness in the country. Plus this year, it has collapsed 5 times. People don't have light. And without light, there's no life. No light, no life. The government cannot provide light for its citizens. Then what are you celebrating? What are you celebrating? It doesn't want it. Go to judiciary. Judiciary system has been messed up. Judiciary is no longer the hope of the common man. The Nigerian judiciary is cash and carry. The government does not obey court orders. The government in a democracy does not obey court orders. For example, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was discharged by the appeal court on October 13th, 2022. But he is still languishing in DSS custody, in solitary confinement, after Nigerian courts have already freed, acquitted, and released him. That's one point. And another is how they are taking money and announcing this person or that person as the winner of an election that truly that person does not win. So the judiciary is a failure. Before we continue, we have to beg you again to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our program, comment, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, so that you can always get our new lectures each time we drop it, and go to our previous lectures. Continuing, let's look at agriculture. Agriculture, recently you have had the government led by Tinubu saying that they'll be importing food from outside the country into the country. I did not hear them say, oh, farming season is coming. Let us invest massively in agriculture so that we can produce our own food. No. Instead, they are importing food, which means all kinds of junk will now be imported into the country. And what will that do? That will now frustrate and displace the farmers, our own farmers, a country that cannot feed itself. Why can't we feed ourselves? We have fertile lands, we have the population, we have the money, even if it's borrowed money, invest it in agriculture so that we can be self-sufficient in agriculture, in food production, instead of importing food. You are importing food and you are celebrating Democracy Day. Does it make any sense? No. At Nkolomahadum, you have to use your akonuche. You have to use your common sense to reason. It doesn't make any sense. Now let's look at education. Education. Many schools in Nigeria, a lot of does not graduate the time they're supposed to graduate. Even when they graduate, they can't, the standard is low. The standard of education in Nigeria is low. When a Nigerian graduate comes abroad, he'll be, instead of him going to the next step, his certificate will be re-evaluated. Say you graduated from BS microbiology in Nigeria, and you come, say, in the United States. You cannot go straight to do your master's. They will want you to go back so that your results will be re-evaluated, so they can tell you whether to start from year 3 or year 2, which is slowing down the progress of the Nigerian people. So the education is not working. Are you talking about the environment where people study? Do you have air conditioning in the classes? What kind of chairs do you have for the students? What kind of environment? Therefore, the educational system in Nigeria is in total mess. How about infrastructures like roads? How many federal roads are in your community? How many of them? Well built, not the one that they will be today, that will not last the next rainy season. How many of them are in your community? We don't have any federal presence. How about healthcare? What is the standard of healthcare in Nigeria? People are dying anyhow in Nigeria because of lack of good healthcare system. The medical professionals are not paid well. There's not enough drugs. There's no planning so that citizens can get free health care. So the poor people, that's how it is done everywhere. Depending on how much a citizen is making, he or she may be getting free health care. Both hospital visits, both buying of drugs should be for free. How many of such programs do we have in Nigeria in the healthcare area? How many of them do we have? Almost nothing in the healthcare area. How about security? Security is the first. Any country that cannot provide security for her citizens is a total failure. If you go to Nigeria today, a lot of insecurity everywhere. The Fulani herdsmen, terrorists are going wild across the northeast and northwest and north central, and even down to the south. The other day at Enugu, in the southeast, kidnapping, extortion, killing of our people everywhere. There's insecurity. What is the government doing? Absolutely nothing. And so, what are you celebrating? There is insecurity across the board, all over Nigeria. And that does not give Nkola Mahadum any happiness to celebrate June 12th. And therefore, that celebration is a waste. How about wage disparity? Now they're talking about negotiation of minimum wage and so on and so forth. How about that? The minimum wage in Nigeria is very, very poor. A senator or somebody in National Assembly earning up to between 17 million to 30 million every month, and then they are paying somebody else that is also a civil servant 30,000 a month. Come on. Is that fair? That is unfair. Is that what you are celebrating in your June 12th Democracy Day? How about local governments? The local government is the third tie. In fact, it's supposed to be the first. The local government area is supposed to be the first. Is our local government functioning? No. Why not? That's what you should be tackling than going to do June 12th. For what? For what? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So Nkola Mahadum is of the opinion that the June 12th celebrated by the government of Tinubu on June 12th is a waste of time and the resources. That is the time the government is supposed to go back to the drawing table. See where everything is loosed. See where everything is loosed up to tighten the things that is losing here and there. That is the time. Not the time for fanfare, for funfair. And there was one incident that happened on that day also that is very, very laughable. A motorcade cannot even move in the arena. It doesn't have any fuel. Come on. The same day you are celebrating your Democracy Day, you can't even fuel your motorcade? Oh, shit. Unbelievable. And so, what we are saying is that from everything that we have seen so far, going on from the time the democracy came back to Nigeria up to this period, there's nothing to celebrate. You shouldn't be celebrating June 12th. Do the work first. Make sure that democracy is working. In our opinion, at Nkola Mahadum, the democracy being practiced in Nigeria today is not working. It's not working. And any celebration of June 12th should be suspended until further notice. Like we said, we're going to be keeping everything short because time is flying. We're going to be bringing this lecture to an end. But before we close, we already told you the history of June 12th, how Abiola won, was deprived by Babangida, how Muhammad Buhari changed the date from 29 May to June 12th. you know, and then the indices like inflation, energy, education, democracy, judiciary, agriculture, infrastructure, security, wage disparity, local governments, they're not working. They're not working. And so that celebration is just wasting of the meager resources and loan that the government keeps getting. And before we end, we must beg you again to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We present these issues from Biafran and African perspective. That's how you should see things. Don't be just a follow. You have to belong. Hey, let's go. Let's do this. You don't even calculate. Do your calculation. Have an objective analysis before you follow. At Nkolo Mahadum, we do objective analysis and we do not follow just to follow. We say it the way it should be said. Before we end, we have to beg you today to please support Eastern Security Network. Eastern Security Network is the only security outfit that are positioned in the bushes. Their job is to drive away the Fulani herdsmen terrorists from our lands, because that is where they launch attacks from, to kill our people, to prevent our farmers from farming. When we dislodge them from the forests, then our people can be able to go to the farm and farm so that we can have enough food in our hand. You know, when you eat, then you can think. Support Eastern Security Network. And with this, we shall be bringing this lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining us today. Again, my name is Obiora Mba. Thank you.